Hello viewers, I'm here making a help video for the modest Mussorgsky or the Knight on a Bald Mountain for the field trip to JU. And in this video I'll be going over, of course, finger patterns for some of the long runs and stylistic choices for the collegno and pizzicato sections, stuff like that, because I know they come up in rehearsals a lot, and you will hear about it soon if you haven't heard about it already, those sections in rehearsal. And so let's get started. All right, first we'll start with the beginning to measure 12, those runs, those fun slurs. And for these, we can just stay in first position because this is the easiest finger pattern to use, as we can stay on one string for most of the slurs. And we don't have to do a lot of crazy kind of extensions and shifts to try and get it to work in first. So to demonstrate this, I'll just play the slurs nice and slow to make sure everyone has the finger pattern. We get over here, so. Alright, so that was the finger pattern. I hoped it was clear, and because we're just staying first the whole time, really. And of course, besides that, we're gonna want a lot of dynamic variation when playing those. We want to go from really quiet pianissimo to Alright, and I know I actually played a F sharp there for the first one, so let me do that again. But so that's more the dynamic we want, and you may notice that crescendo on the staccato chord notes. So yes, we are crescendoing from a pianissimo at the start. So we're going. So we're crescendoing to like maybe a mezzo forte around there, and then weird enough, we're going back down to piano. Those are the choices of the teacher that was by Mrs. Farley, so we're just gonna go with that. Anyway, it sounds good. I like it. But yeah, that's what we're doing. Sorry if it's a little unclear. And to the next section, we can start for pizzicato. And to this, there really isn't much to it. Just pitch louder. And I know we're viola, so we don't really have trouble playing loud most of the time. At least I hope so. So to just demonstrate, of course, we're gonna want to pitch with our left hand. I know many people like to kind of drop the bow and just kind of try to get like a lot of index finger into it, but it's easier if you just kind of use your regular bow hand and just kind of pitch on the side like this, because you always have to go to arc really fast, and it's quite hard to go from here to like that. So all right, so I'll just demonstrate using the left hand. You want to pull the string a lot to get a loud sound. Yeah, so yeah, there's the pizzas, and I would go. Oh, I guess I will go really shortly. The triplets or the divisions at measures 30, for example. This will show up a lot for the piece. We're actually tripletizing these. I know it as one slash mark, meaning to divide into two, but for this piece we will be tripletizing it. So it'll be yeah, and for counting those, and you make sure you're in the right bow, because I know it's something that hard. It can be easy to get mixed up while playing triplets. I just recommend practicing triplets with metronome starting at 60 and gradually working your way up at home. And then when you're ready to play it fast, subdivide triplet as you play, and think of it in terms of the chord notes as well as you subdivide that. And going into our next runs at 40. And these are a little trickier with these runs, which I assume many of you have discovered, because it's not so easy to play in reverse, because you end up doing this weird half position extensions where you're kind of apologize for that because I'd only played in first and half position. Although you could play half position if it makes it more comfortable with it. The way I'd recommend to do it is play it in second, which I know may be kind of hard for many because I'm not sure if I've ever been asked to play in second position for an orchestral piece in Steinbrenner. So I assume many of you probably haven't really played in it very often, but it's a quite easy shift. We'll just go from 39, so we'll be going. We'll be shifting half a step upward to the B flat. And from there, it's just a simple finger pattern where it's just half whole, half a whole. So it's like it's intuitive fall of your finger patterns. It's kind of like the same as when you're in first position, but it's kind of shifted upward. That's why I like to play in second because it's similar to how it was in first. Just it's just higher on the viola a little bit. And so playing this, it'll look like this here in second. And I know there's one tricky kind of half step you have to take back when playing that F flat on the second run, but that's the only weird kind of extension you have to do. Other than that, you can just stay in second the whole time, and you don't have to move your wrist at all. We're trying to kind of shift back between positions as you would which you would have to do in first, because your first hand would be constantly kind of shifting between the E flat and E and the F occasionally. So yeah, that's why I like it. That's why I like playing it in second. And of course, still the dynamics still apply, and everything still applies from the first section. Let's see here. Yeah, I know it get a lot harder to memorize the notes because you're not used to playing them in second. So when you see it on the page, your first thought isn't to play the C natural with the second finger. But if you practice it at home, spend a couple minutes on it every day and try to really memorize those finger patterns slowly, but you'll get it, and it'll become a muscle memory. All right, for the B section, so I'll be skipping over the rest of it because most of it's just style, and I guess I can demonstrate really close. I guess I can demonstrate the dynamics and style that we want to have from 49 to, I don't know, let's say 60. Yeah, so we want to be loud and confident. We play those accents out and just have fun playing those half notes. And as you saw at 61 to B, there was I just kind of basically tremoloed. Although it wasn't a tremolo, it was the same speed, but what we want there is to just play a ton of really fast consecutive half step, kind of basically tremolos, or a trill really if you've ever played a trill, where we're just playing the G sharp for first finger and rapidly tapping the second finger for the A. And this doesn't really have a specific rhythm. It'll sound good either way. All right, moving on, we're gonna start at the B, where we'll start at 68 with that really fast, run where we go. Yeah, of course, as it slowed down, there's no real. I wish I could give you a trick, to make this a lot easier, but there's not really a great trick for this section. You just kind of have to, learn it and really get your fingers to play it fast by practicing over and over again, getting faster. But one thing I can say that will probably help many who need to work on their posture a little bit is to make sure your whole hand is not moving every time you play a single note. Because what I often see looking at players is that, for example, they can play the first finger E just fine, right, without moving the whole hand. And we don't. But when they go to play their fourth finger, their hand suddenly pivots to hit it. So that will that will not work so well for the runs because you're wasting time moving your whole hand when you could just move your finger. And in order to do that, we'll have to, let me back up here a second, we'll have to curve our elbow a lot inward. So you're moving a lot more inward. So that way our wrist goes from being more, like perpendicular to the screen to become more parallel with it. And that way we can just drop the fingers. We can just hit the notes by dropping the fingers instead of dropping the whole hand to hit the notes. And that'll make it a lot easier and faster. And that will take some to get used to if you don't play like that usually, but if you focus on it whenever you play from now on, it'll be easier. And so, I guess I'll just play it fast for the demonstration. Sorry for the remark there, but yeah, that's the kind of rhythm we want there. So that's the rhythm we want. And for the harmonic, I know I just played a demonic note, but we don't have to do, contrary to what you would think looking at it, we don't have to go up here. We don't have to do that. It turns out that there's not artificial, there's a harmonic we can hit just by playing regular third finger on the A string to hit the D. So if we just play if you play it as a harmonic and just hover the finger over the string, not hover over it, but I would touch the string but not press down, we can have a artificial harmonic at the same pitch. So yeah, so there it is, and it's really hard to hit. It's a lot less room for error than the higher ones, but it's much more convenient because we don't have to do this. We don't have to do that. Yeah, it'll take some practice to find that spot. We get it more consistently, but yeah, that's the finger pattern we use. Yeah, so that's it for that section, really. Yeah, just play it with with vigor. Have fun with it, and yeah. But if you have fun with it, then yeah, you'll have fun with it. Okay, that's it for the first page. I was kind of turning into a long video, already 12 minutes. Dang. I guess I might have to record another one to get this more optimized, but I guess I'll focus on the Collegno for now. Yeah, so start on the Collegno. Yeah, so when playing Collegno, we obviously want to hit the string with our stick, as I'm sure you've been told. But something you could do to give it a bit more pitch is not just hit it with the stick, but kind of hit it with like the side of the hair a little bit, but not a lot, not a lot, right? Like the minimum you can hit it with the hair on the side. Hit it with that. So that way you're kind of hitting it both at the same time. It gives it a bit more pitch if you're lacking in pitch. Of course, that depends on what the conductor wants. They may say less pitch is more stick, but I think it's better for a bit more pitch. And to play really like Collegno, there really isn't much to it at all. Again, it's just like pitch. You simply got to hit the string harder. You can add more. Many people play Collegno by simply bouncing the bow against the string, but to give it more pitch and again with a bit more sound, you can give it a more bowing motion or back and forth. But of course, focus on making a sound rather than making it look pretty. So I guess I'll play Collegno forte, I suppose. There. Yeah, so it's not much to it, just gotta hit the string. Okay, and then I guess I'll go over the finger patterns for 158 to G really fast. I guess I'll go 158 to the end of the page. I'll play it slower so you can see it. For this, we're just gonna stay in first, really, for the entire thing. Really, there's no need to shift, although it can get a bit uncomfortable sometimes. stay in first and do a lot of first finger sliding on the last couple runs, but if you're fast, it will sound fine. And then from there, we go into our beautiful, beautiful A major section, which I know many people probably don't like. I get that, I understand it, but it's awkward. But this is really, luckily for us, they're not asking too much of us here. They're just asking us to play high third finger and kind of make a little bit of like a tilde, I think. Oh no, not tilde. Kind of a bit of a trill with the 16th note, 8th notes. And then cold like note again, but quieter, of course, because it's piano. And then, yeah, so that's the rhythm, you know, pretty simple, just pretty standard. But I personally, I really like the rhythm. Starting in I, it gets a little bit weird, so I'll just demonstrate that rhythm. Of course, subdivide when you're doing these all the time. But of course, sometimes it helps to hear the rhythm in your head. So. That's it for now. It just repeats. Yeah. Other than just keeping time with the tricky parts, with the tricky like sub-rhythms, not sub-rhythms, but extra notes. It's good. It's quite standard, really. Just gotta take some time to look at it. And for this part, as I played before, I'd recommend playing in half position. So 4-finger for the C sharp. That's a finger pattern. You know, once you get used to it, it's just like playing first position but shifted down half a step in half position. And then it just repeats down at the end of the page, but you know, the lower strings, which I guess I can play really fast. Then we have our fun section, the best key of them all, D flat. What a key, right? D flat. Let's see that page. That's the wrong page. Now for this key, all you need to remember, right, is that to play every note flat except for C and F. And of course, you can derive that from the circle of fifths, but I'm not going to get into theory because I highly suspect no one wants to hear about theory. If you do, call me. I'll talk about theory anytime. But I personally really like theory. Yeah. So just play every note flat except for C and F. Back to the thing. And yeah, of course this gets confused the first time, but if you of course get used to the concept, you know, it becomes easier over time. So I'll just demonstrate it. You can play it in first or chorus. I know just because it changes key, but you might think you need to go to a different position like second or half, but you really don't need to. You can just play it in first. So. Yeah. So I missed a couple notes there, but I recovered it hopefully. So I just played it in first and half a little bit, whenever half's needed. But yeah. And then we move on to N, which we're still in the same key, but thankfully it's quite similar to playing the A major section with those slurred eighth note runs like this. So. It's quite similar finger pattern, although it's a different key. But before that, we have the. You will need a shift for that. And I know many don't probably want to shift that, but it's just an easy shift to third, which I hope is easy, but if it's not, that's all right. Because you still have time to learn it. We'll do a shift to third position for the 1 and an F, and we'll start with F. So yeah, the reason why we would shift the third there is because the string crossings would be unbearable. G flat, A flat, G flat. So yeah. Pesante. It's really heavy, I think. All right, O. I'll go over the style here. Pesante means, I believe it means really heavy. I believe it means extremely heavy style. If it doesn't, I will text it and rectify that it doesn't, but I'll just assume it does for now. And it says sostenuto, so we'll be playing really heavy sustained sound of fortissimo. Yeah, so simple, just really going to the string there. And then we have the return of the runs. What fun. But thankfully they're the same finger patterns before, so nothing different except, the only thing different this time is that we have pits, so. Do that again. So, yeah. Then we have the divisi, eighth notes. For this, just remember to keep it tense. You know, that's the feeling or mood that's being projected by the music, so keep it tense. And it's forte, sorry, it's fortissimo, so. So yeah, just keep it tense at the half step. And that'll be it for that section. Q is just a bunch of long tripletized quarter notes, so like that, yeah. So just practice your triplets, and that'll be pretty easy because it's just 1 1 4 1 1 4 or 1 1 open string, whatever you prefer to do. And so moving on to 2 before R, we have, let us play it first. Yeah, so it goes quite fast there, but I'll play it slower this time. At R, I suppose it depends what R it says, but for now, don't divisi it. And I say that because it's much more fun to play it as a double stop. And I know it looks hard, but you just gotta bar the first finger. And for people who don't know what barring is yet, it's simpler than it looks, really. You're just placing your first finger on, in the gap between the two strings, so that way the edges of your finger hit both strings equally. And to do this, if your finger isn't big enough, like to the tip of your finger, you can kind of flatten it a little bit, so you can kind of. Well, that's really extreme. So this is how it usually looks, but you can kind of flatten it a little bit to kind of hit both a little bit if you need to. So that's what they call barring. But really, it's just playing a fifth. It's really just playing a fifth that's not an open string. So. Notice what I'm doing there is that I'm shifting to third to play that E as it's written in the music, because we keep it on the same string. I suspect that Mussorgsky or the conductor will allow. Well, so actually, Mrs. Richardson will be Dr. Richardson will be conducting this, so she'll probably not want to see us playing in the first position. So we went from. She'll want. So So yeah, that's what you want. And I know it's kind of really hard fast shift to make, but if you practice every day, like maybe like, I don't know, 2 minutes every day, going from so yeah, that's the progression you really want. And something I always find is that when you're shifting, don't overthink it. Don't try to like measure the distance when you're playing this. So like don't try to like consciously measure the distance. Like, okay, we're going, I don't know, like this amount upwards. Just hear the note, hear the E, like kind of memorize a little bit. So kind of hear the E, and that'll make it easier to shift to. All right. So that's it for that section. This is turning into a long video. Okay, I'm gonna have to. Okay, I'll try to wrap this up. This is bad. Okay, where were we? Where the section? So this has showed up. Okay, fine. We'll start at S. At S, I'll go over how to do these shifting techniques. I say that, but it's not that complicated. So it's just a lot of rapid shifting, really. You just gotta memorize where that A is, the harmonic, and find it fast. So. Again, just really practice will get you there. Just every day spending a couple minutes or even 1 minute just going. I went too far there. So yeah, spend time slowly doing that, memorizing the distance will allow you to play that faster. And going to the fun part, as I like to call it, at 343. So go. So yeah, we'll want to shift to half there on the, sorry, half, not half, second. We'll want to go from B natural to C sharp. We'll shift to our first finger, so. And the reason for this is because second position works really well for the upcoming runs we have here. And I suppose you could play them first, so. Yeah, but then you just need to shift up to the F sharp. So there's a lot more shifting than you need to do when you just stay in second and you don't have to shift at all. So go from. Yeah, and you'll notice that I shifted back to first after I hit the second F sharp in the runs, after I hit the. I went back to first because there's no need to be in second anymore because the scary F sharps are gone. And so those are the runs, those are the finger patterns. Just play in second until you get to the last F sharp and then shift back to first. And again, the finger pattern isn't that different in second than it is usually in first. It's just one whole step, half usually. There is one extension you're gonna have to do. and the first measure of it, where you go, so you go F sharp, G sharp, which is a whole step, and then A sharp, another whole step, and then your half step, which is your regular first position finger pattern anyway. But then you have to shift. You have to extend your forefinger out to hit that C natural or the B sharp, which is the following note. And then you can shift the next, not shifting, cross to the next string for the C sharp. So yeah. So yeah, once you get used to it, it's pretty intuitive, that finger pattern, because it's similar to the first position one. And yeah, that's really most of the hard stuff. And then we get to the chords, the final piece, which I'm not sure how we're dividing those just yet. I say top, obviously take the top two if you can. Bottom, take the one, or bottom two if there is a bottom two. But looks like it's just usually three notes, not a 4-note chord. So top take 2, bottom take 2. Yeah. I think that's really it. I don't want to stall as long as it should be, but I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh yeah, for getting up to tempo, for really the entire piece, really. That was going to be apparent to everyone's, every clinician, every tutor, every teacher I've ever had to say, they always say to just take it slower, you know, take it really slow and then gradually move it up the metronome. Yeah, and that is the way you increase the speed. But what I've found is that one way to kind of try to accelerate the process of trying to increase the tempo to make it easier to play at higher speeds is to make sure you really understand like where your left hand is going and the movements of your right hand. Like make sure you like intuitively understand, like have the same level of clarity, same level of autonomy as you do when you're like playing sports, like moving your body, for example, right? Because if you can really understand how your left hand moves and just what it's doing when it's shifting to each note, or what it's doing when it's shifting to a finger pattern, makes it easier to play faster. And that was a really bad way to phrase it. But some people understand, I guess. Okay. If anyone wants another video, because I know this one was kind of my first like long sequence of this is my first real practice video, so I understand that it most likely has quite a couple flaws in it. Yeah, because there's the fact that it's one of them is that the fact that it's 33 minutes long. That's one flaw I can see already. So let me know if you want another one or a revised version. I'll always try my best to make it as clear and helpful to you as possible. So I know I keep looking over there. So yeah, let me know if you want another one, or if you want me to help you one-on-one, or if you have any questions just about the piece, or like the bowings or finger patterns, just let me know and I'll be sure to respond. Thank you for watching.